again in the future. All right, we are live with my friend Declan. Give us a little introduction of yourself, Declan. What have you been doing and where do you come from?
What have I been doing? Jeez. Well, I've been, I'm a veteran. I was in the Army for a number of years, 13 years all up. I spent a bit of time at 1RAR and then I went over to 2 Commando and spent 9 years at 2 Commando. Did some fun stuff over there and quite a few operational deployments. But in 2013, start of 2014, I was medically retired. I had a spinal fusion and a number of other sort of significant injuries that put me in a bit of a crossroads of life as to what sort of path that I wanted to take. I could have kept going on, but it's sort of like, it's like that the old athlete mentality when your injuries are starting to pile up. It's like, okay, am I going to keep going doing this and suffering in my 40s, 50s, and 60s physically, or just do I say, like, kick it in the ass and then move on and do something else with my life, which is what I decided to do. And at the time, I started a business with my girlfriend, Emily. It was a digital fitness business, and that's still going today in a different sort of form that it was when we initially started. But I guess what I'm doing with myself now, I just run a number of e-commerce businesses. Got a cosmetics business that I'm an owner in, James Cosmetics. The Emily Sky Fit brand, the digital fitness business with the apps and subscription business there, and also a sports nutrition company called Force Element Performance, which is about 18 months old.
Yeah,
so
that's
sort of busy, and got a daughter and a baby boy on the way, so life's busy right now.
That is good, and it's always nice to see veterans out there getting after it. I mean, I personally struggle to hang out with too many veterans, because I think if you put 10 in a room, 9 of them would be complaining. So, and I actually met you through some fundraising that we did for veterans, and we started doing martial arts together, which was cool. We did that a couple of times. So you're a brown belt in jiu-jitsu. Probably should be a black belt, but with your neck that's been difficult, so you've transitioned to other things now, and obviously super busy with business, because Emily Sky Fit, that just went bananas, didn't it?
Yeah, it went through sort of I guess you could probably call it a hyper growth phase. I'm just putting the window down here, mate, just bear with me. It definitely went through a sort of hyper growth phase there in the I guess as Instagram started taking off and Facebook started taking off. Can you hear me all right? There's a busker playing a bit of music in the background. Quite nice.
Yeah. No, audio is good.
So that sort of grew to a point where it was made a shitload of mistakes along the way. A lot of expensive mistakes, a lot of sort of business structural mistakes and contractual mistakes, and just mistakes you make because you just don't know. I mean, you don't know what you don't know. But a couple of years ago, we sold part of the business to a private equity group, fitness and lifestyle group, and we've been working with them ever since. So that's a good
mistakes are a huge part of that process, right? What do you think being a soldier or a martial artist really helped you with pushing through those mistakes, or is it something that maybe you got from your parents? Where do you think that came from?
Absolutely. I'll tell you one thing about the benefit of being a soldier, and anyone who's sort of been in a high stress environment for extended periods of time. I mean, as we both know, there's a lot of dramas in the veteran community, not only here but abroad, where people struggle with post-traumatic stress and various other sort of like psychological and mental issues. Well, the thing for me that I drew from my experience in those sort of environments was the fact that Em would always say to me, like, you don't stress out about anything. And it's like how I describe that is that all these problems, whether it be some sort of legal issue or some sort of dispute or just shit that happens in business, happens all the time. Like you might have members that aren't happy for whatever reason. You've got some sort of dispute you need to resolve. I just sort of put it back to the fact that, like it's not going to kill me. It's not going to hurt me physically. I mean, it might set me back in the business or might cause some other stresses or pressures. But at the end of the day, it's just, you're just dealing with people. It's really not that that much of an issue, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, 100%. I do.
Well, sorry to interrupt, but there was a famous, I think it was an Australian cricketer. I'm just trying to remember now. But a famous cricketer, whether it was Australian or English, she was saying, they interviewed him and they said, I wish I remember his name. They asked him, why are you so like just relaxed and calm under pressure? And this is straight after World War II. And he was just saying, I flew fighters over Germany in World War II. Like, this is cricket. There's nothing to be stressed out about. And that's like probably a terrible example, but I'm as someone who's flew over Germany in World War II. But for my situation, it's nothing. It's just, you're just dealing with people. You're dealing with issues. It's not the end of the world. It could be so much worse.
Yeah, it gives perspective, and I suppose that's one of the things.
Yeah, all perspective.
Jiu-jitsu and fitness hopefully should be doing to people is giving them perspective. You know, like you know, like, and hopefully some kind of emotional resilience. I think that those lessons are better lessons than how to lose 5 kilos. It's like, if that's all you're training fitness for, and you're not trying to hit that healthy lifestyle, and you never push yourself, and you never go to those dark places where you want to give up, you miss out on so much of the benefits that has nothing to do with growing muscles or losing fat, you know?
Yeah.
100%. So after Emily Skyfit, you then transitioned, you guys sold that, and now you've started Force Elements. Tell us a little bit about Force Elements.
Well, there's a guy that I've known for a number of years, Nathan Jacobs. He's my partner. He's my business partner in Force Element Performance. And it was more so just a conversation that we were having about I rang him out of the blue. I was just trying to pick his brain on something. And he was a general manager of a sports nutrition brand at the time. And it wasn't necessarily a space that I sort of wanted to get into, because it's the subspace it's a very tough space. Margins aren't great on product. It's very, very competitive, super competitive. There's so many brands out there. The barrier for entry into that space is really, really easy. And a lot of it now is influencer driven and whatnot. So I was just speaking to him one night about something totally another topic altogether, and asked him how he was going. And he was having some issues. And I just said to him sort of, hey man, like if you ever want to start something, let's have a crack. Let's have a go. And it was a super informal conversation like that. And literally the next day he said, yeah, hey, I've got some ideas. And I mean, I had some ideas as well. And pretty much we started there, and within sort of that conversation, we had our first sort of product out to market within, I'd say probably 6 to 7 months. Yep. And yeah, that was 18 months, 2 years ago now. So we've got 5 different products and a range of different SKUs. We've got a distribution deal with Nutrition Systems, which are the biggest distributor in the country and in New Zealand. Supply pretty much every sports nutrition store around the country. So yeah, that's something that sort of definitely keeps us busy, and it's growing all the time.
What advice would you give maybe a veteran or somebody out there at the moment that wants to start a business? Because I remember when I left the military, when I started working for myself, it was out of necessity, and I kind of fell into the fitness industry because it was somewhere where I had skills and passion. Yeah. But I really just got addicted to the nature that now I was creating my own life. I was creating my own lifestyle, and I got to do what I loved every day. And a successful business has kind of been not something that I chased. It was just a product of being passionate about something for me. So I fell into it. So to start a new business, for people that want to do that, what advice would you give them?
A few things. I would say patience is extremely important. I think with the way social media is, today, and the way Instagram is and whatnot, there's this perception of overnight success. It takes, like, whether it's a gym you're starting, a clothing brand, a cosmetics brand, whatever it is, like, it doesn't matter. You need to be very patient, because there's going to be periods of time where you're working your ass off and you're just not seeing the fruits of your labor. So just having that sort of persistence and determination just to keep going, because it's funny. What's that saying? Overnight success, but there's sort of 10 years working towards that point.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've worked in this.
Slaughtered that saying, but
yeah.
But you know what I mean? It's, you know, people, something will pop and sort of come onto your radar, and you're just like, oh, where have these guys been? And you just assume it's an overnight success, but these guys have been doing it for a decade, and you've only just heard about them now. So I think that's really, really important. I know I've spoken to a number of friends that are veterans, and they sort of hop from thing to thing without really putting any time into anything, whether it be a job, whether it be their own business or whatever it is. You know, they sort of hit that point where it's like, I'm not seeing any results now, so I'm just going to kick it in the guts and move on to the next thing. That's one of the things I would say is a key bit of advice.
Yeah,
just having that persistence, especially, like, you know, use yourself as an example with your gym. You're starting from scratch. You need to get members in. You need to get that sort of momentum going, but that takes a long time. Like, it takes years to establish yourself.
Well, yeah, I worked for other people for 7 to 8 years.
Exactly.
Building that and helping them build their thing. And then I think for the first 12 months after I signed the lease, I paid myself $300 a week for the first 12 months. Like, it was just enough to put groceries on the table for me and my wife. I was lucky that she had another job, but, you know, like, for that 12 months, I didn't go to a movie. I didn't buy a coffee. You know, like it was, it was just, we did it out of necessity, but also passion as well. You know, like, it was nice to be my own boss for the first 12 months. And I also had a business coach and mentors. I mean, during that time, I jumped on the phone to talk to you a couple of times. I have a list of people that I like to call that can help me solve problems, problems, personal problems, business problems, that have a certain type of energy that helps me. You know, like, where they only talk to me in solutions and calming ways. You know,
for sure. Yeah, and having those, I mean, there's people like that I speak to as well about various things, and it's so good to have that outside, you know, the fresh eyes, look at a problem, look at a situation, how to solve it and whatnot. That's really valuable for sure.
Yeah, especially sometimes when they're outside your industry too. I like to have people from different industries that have different perspectives on things. Like, and you have a makeup company now too with Emily, correct? And that has
cosmetics.
And that has a bunch of employees. You know, like, I'm lucky to ever have 1 or 2 full-time people on at a time, and a bunch of casuals.
Well, I mean, it's sort of getting back to that sort of the patience thing. And I know when we first started James Cosmetics, and business partner in that, Sam Mangan, which is actually M's manager as well. With that business was going for probably, probably 18 months before we really saw anything, and it was a very slow start, and then just within sort of 18 months we started seeing return on the work that was being put in, and we've sort of since scaled that to the point where we have quite a few employees now, which is fantastic. But it just goes back to that. It just goes back to that patience, having the ability to just see something through, and you know yourself if something's not going to work. Like, there's things that we've tried in the past, various little things that we were able to identify. Look, this just isn't going to work, and we've sort of been able to sort of just turn it off. But it's having that ability to see the, I guess, blue sky, see what could be. But yeah, it's definitely rewarding, personally, to see something that you start, grow, and become something.
Oh, 100%. And I'm sure you guys have changed hundreds and thousands of lives with the Emily Sky program, and I'm sure that you're going to continue to change more. I know she's got a massive social media presence, so she's a positive effect on females all over the world. And so I'm pumped for that for you. I'm always excited to see you guys be successful. And look, we might leave it there today. We talked about a lot of business today, but I want to get you back in and have a talk about your fused neck and how you train around it and all that magic stuff as well. So that would be awesome. But I know I've caught you in the car, but I'd definitely love to have you back on. And it was super good talking to you again, Declan. Thanks, mate.
No dramas. Talk soon, bud.
All right. I'm just going to end